obviously, and I think 5RATFORCESTAFF probably have the edge in terms of the play so far this season. Would you agree with that? And does that combine into a better draft as the panel seems to think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Keep in mind, Felt has definitely played much better teams so far. They've played against Quincy Crew, Wildcard Gaming, and Nouns. Wildcard Gaming and Nouns about middle of the pack, whereas on 5RATFORCESTAFF, all right, they've also played hard teams. They played TSM, Quincy, and the Cuts. So I think it's safe to say from watching the game, so the 5RATFORCESTAFF has looked better. Felt kind of gets stomped in almost every game they play from what I've seen. So yeah, I would definitely agree with that assessment.
And of course, the one thing that Felt are missing, which 5RATFORCESTAFF have, Purge, is Lil Nick. My boy, Lil Nick on the Timbersaw. This guy is, well, he started as a youngster. I'm pretty sure he's the oldest 16-year-old in the world now. How old is he these days?
I think he's 18 now.
Oh my God, they grow up so fast, these kids.
I know. I just hope he doesn't change his name. I would really like it to stick the same. Yep,
he needs to be an old man at some point with still a little Nick. Actually, that probably gets a little creepy at some point, to be honest. Maybe not that old. There's certainly a threshold. This is starting out as a potential tri-lane here. As you can see the Wraith Fire Blast come out onto Lil Nick, but Albino Zebra has come with the battery assault. Not going to dive any further, so Shu will survive. Is an albino zebra just a horse? Like, what is the actual difference there?
Well, that's true. That's a very good username. Albino zebra. Yeah, they're pretty similar. You know what I read something recently about zebras is that they cannot be domesticated like horses, even though they look very similar. Probably because they're too skittish. They're too used to like lions jumping out and fucking eating them.
Yeah.
Whereas horses didn't have the same constant fucking danger to their lives.
It's not just lions that have eaten them, but you and I actually ate zebra.
Oh no.
Recently.
Don't bring that up.
It wasn't very good though. It was kind of meh.
It wasn't very good. It's frozen meat shipped from somewhere where they actually have zebras. Of course it was
zebra,
not very good.
Ostrich, kangaroo, and I couldn't tell the difference between any of them at all, to be honest.
Yes.
But that's a story for another day. So yeah, looking at the lineups, without looking at the teams at all, who would you favor? Do you agree with the panel on this one?
Oh man, if I was paying attention to what they said, I would definitely agree with them. But due to the fact that I took my break a little bit there.
Great.
No, well, I like the 5RATFORCESTAFF draft personally. I think Puck is really fantastic in the current meta. I was going to talk about Lil Nick on the Timbersaw, but you said without the team. So Timbersaw is great, very good hero, very powerful. Lich, not so good, but the one thing I do like about the Felt draft is they've got two pretty quick disables to catch Puck potentially between the Rubik Lift and the Lich eyeball gazers. So those parts are good. But they're not exactly traditional Puck counters, and if they get silenced, they're just going to die anyway. So I don't think they're going to be like perfect solutions, but they give them a little bit of play at least.
Well, it actually brings up an interesting topic, well, interesting to me at least, probably to nobody else. Lich, what is wrong with the hero, you think? Like, why is this hero not prioritized at all in seemingly years? Ever since they kind of just got rid of Sacrifice from back in the day, it feels like it's never really had its time in the sun.
Yeah, I mean, Sacrifice became valuable because it was like Enigma as a way to just dominate lanes in an abusive way that nobody else could. That was the cool thing about it. I was sad about that personally because what that means is that I liked being able to have like unlimited mana because you got to fight all the time. So now it's like more of a traditional support. You can't just like abuse lanes in a big way. And the other issue is that Chain Frost isn't the most reliable ultimate. They're trying to solve it with the Shard. There's been many patches now where the Ice Spire Shard gets buffed, but it's still not the most reliable thing. So the hero has some issues, and I think that's the reason why it struggles. The most recent patch though did lower Frost Blast mana cost at later levels, so actually will help solve some more of your mana issues.
As First Blood is drawn, Felt will take credit for that one. Zor in specific, taking out DNM. DNM was one of these guys that was kind of an up-and-comer a couple seasons ago. I forget what roster was that on, actually. It was on, like...
Do not know.
It was not for Zoom. I think it might have been like the wildcard iteration before that. I can't exactly remember. But this guy has been kind of all over the place. Still young. One of these up-and-comer NA guys. And with the... I guess the... What's the right word to actually use for four Zoomers, which are now known as what, Purge? This is a trivia for you.
Nouns.
Nouns, that's right.
Or
Yes.
Or vowels, if you want to call them that. That's my personal
With their resurgence, if you will. Like, I mean, they are undefeated as of now. Do you think that this helps the bottom teams at all? Like, coming in from the tier 2s? Like, how many teams have to be relatively competitive for this region to be, like, strong as a whole? Like, is there a threshold for you? They're like, okay, this region's actually kind of average now, I guess, compared to the rest of the field.
I would say, like, 6 is where it starts feeling, like, reasonable, right? Before 6, you're kind of like, okay, there's, like, 4 good teams and there's a bunch of slop at the bottom. But if it's, like, you come up to Div 1 and you get clapped immediately back down to Div 2, that's where I feel really confident about the region. And I feel like NA is actually getting to that position finally, now that Nouns has picked it up a lot. They kind of played disappointing some of the previous seasons. Wildcard Gaming looked great when they got sponsored right away and have kept at about the same level. So there's a good mix of NA teams that are pretty solid at the moment, which gives me some nice hope for the region going forward.
Yeah, as we're going to see Battery Assault over here. Telekinesis not going to actually move him any further. But Zor continuing to do a lot of damage. Actually gets the hammer out. The Cogs blocking him in, but he's going to be able to traverse his way to the other side. Lots of damage. Starbreaker not quite enough. Albino Zebra,
great tango,
which I will call horse for the rest of the game, does survive.
And that was cool, using the tango cut where he did. That was all that they needed. Zor just had to land the Starbreaker, and the horse goes down, but he lives on for another day.
He goes down, but lives on. That sounds like a Slack's play-by-play. I love that. Now, okay, you were right. He ended up dying anyway, as DNM can only watch in shame. But we can see
at least he wasn't freeze-dried.
That is true. They're disgusting that way. I mean, I guess we haven't really technically tried Zebra in its true form, so maybe one day I'll try it.
And I won't. Not me.
Don't knock it till you actually tried it, Perch, okay? As Shoot, it's going to take a Scatter Blast to the face. At least it was good
once
company.
In a while, you have to. That's true. It was a fun evening, but once in a while you just have to be reminded that most food is similar in terms of that. So was it worth the exoticness? No, it was not.
It was worth it for the story. As Shu takes a cookie to the face and a Scatter Blast as well, but looks like he is likely to walk away. But Giant still continuing to pursue. Scatter Blast up in 2 seconds, but not quite in range to find it. So Shu will be A-OK. And how good of a Bloodseeker game would you say that this is?
Well, generally Bloodseeker is very happy if you have allies that can like quickly damage the enemy squad, and they've got decent options there. Speed Plane Puck is going to be decent. Snapfire Ultimate, Timbersaw at times can help amp up your movement speed a bit. So I like that. They also have lots of good ways to interrupt Rupture too.
Good cookie in the bottom lane. Little missed Timber Chain from Lil Nick, but he has the Chakram to get rid. Okay, I was going to say get rid of the ult, but he never actually leveled it. Thought he might have been holding a point, but doesn't look like that is the case. So down goes Wraith King.
That's like one of those cases where you're playing Wraith King and you're like, I almost never die at 6, and they just always assume that I save the point, but you might be greedy and get that extra Wraith King point, right, so you can stun more often, you know? I get the greed desire, and he dies for it, but realistically it would have been better for him to respawn. Hard to say.
Yeah, I think
you might need that level a little bit later in other skirmishes, is what I'm thinking.
Oh, Lil Nick walks right by Shu, just out of range of vision, though. On the other side, though, we have a Rupture from DNM, but it's not going to be enough to save Albino Zebra this time around. As you can see, Zor just ruptured up and just taking some creeps in the meantime. Has that Luminosity to heal up a little bit more. But it looks like they're just going to walk away and just pretend that no Rupture was used. Overall, relatively even game. Lil Nick starting to take over in this bot lane, though. Obviously, with that kill on Wraith King, it helps a lot, but this is where it's going to be difficult for Wraith King to even come back in this lane at all when you have a Timbersaw just taking over like this.
Wraith King is a tough hero to get zoned out of lane for you, because you kind of the more time you have in lane before you go jungle, it's just going to be better for you. You have lower Mortal Strike levels, more points in Vampiric Spirit. It all just really pays off big time. A lot of Wraith Kings do go for this fast armlet though, because it's going to increase your jungle speed, and he has been able to finish it, so that part's an upside for him. But Timbers, it's not like Timbers just going to slow down here. He's going to cut creep wave, he's going to kill tower, and then he'll probably shift and rotate to the top lane and do the same thing. Shu gets found finally. Finally
finds him, and this is going to end up netting him another kill for Lil Nick. That's actually impressive that Timber Chain missed. I'm not going to completely surrounded the trees. Not that it mattered, of course. Looks like he's going to take the tier 1 tower at about the 9-minute mark. So Lil Nick off to a very good start. And this was the last pick Timber, if I remember correctly, which the panel was very impressed with.
Yeah, definitely a good pick for them. On the 5RAT side, gives them the nice frontliner, somebody that's going to be difficult to kill. There is a lot of magic damage coming from the Felt side, though, so later on, if he gets caught in some like bouncing Chain Frost and powerful Rubik nukes, he would be a little vulnerable there, but with this great start for him, it's going to be very, very happy. Full hood finish with Arcane Boots, Soul Ring. The whole bottom half of the map is basically just his for a while here.
Yeah, Paradise trying to get some farm in the meantime, but Lil Nick is likely to force him out relatively soon, no pun intended, with 5RATFORCESTAFF being the name of that team, of course. As top lane, we do have a few heroes from Felt grouping up. Obviously want to pressure this tier 1 tower, which has taken almost no damage thus far, as Zor has the hammer at its ready. Albino Zebra won't be a full channeled Starbreaker, but it'll be a kill nonetheless, as now they will turn their attention to the tier 1 top.
So both 5s getting punished a bit, trying to sap experience greedily, but ultimately 5RATFORCESTAFF not too concerned here. Bloodseeker farming up a decent speed. He's about to get Maelstrom, so I kind of feel like he'll farm a bit faster than Wraith King generally, but as long as Nick sits in the creep wave and like cuts zombies or skeletons down, that'll be fine. Oh, coil in mid.
Yeah, I mean, we see the belches from Giant are going to be completely dodged as Solji has the Invis rune, and he's going to be able to kill Lil Nick's courier as well. So looks like he's going to be A-okay as Lil Nick made his transition over here.
I look like Giant was lagging or didn't know. I mean, Soji did pop his Invis rune when he got Dream Coiled there, and the sentry I think was a bit later because he was doing Mortimer's Kisses, right? So he's like, if he wants to put a sentry down, he has to stop casting it. So he kind of just kept shooting in the same lane spots. I don't know if he lagged or didn't realize or whatever, but yeah, big misexecution there. If he puts a sentry down, maybe they do kill him.
Yeah,
Nick rotated over for that as well. So
yeah, exactly.
That was a little rough.
So that gave Paradise a little bit extra from. Obviously, this is a hero that can catch up relatively quickly, but Giant going to try to take some creeps. He'll do so successfully, as we see now a Maelstrom picked up on DNM's Bloodseeker. What kind of I mean, they were talking about how Rubik wasn't that great of a pick early, but it ends up turning into an okay one. I mean, eventually you'll have the shard to get people out of the cogs. I mean, Timbersaw and Bloodseeker seem to be pretty good Rubik counterparts.
Yeah, the counter against Clockwork is definitely one of the big ones, for sure. Especially because you typically expect Clockwork to be 5, so you know you're going to have that lane. So that part is really solid.
We have the coil, and it's going to be broken immediately, and the Void Spirit's going to be able to get away right away. It's a big Chain Frost. Solar Guardian coming in as well to get some heals up, but this is going to turn into 1 kill for Felt. It's going to be the trade for the Void Spirit, though, as the Bloodseeker has come to play, and DNM is beating the crap out of everybody with that thirst. Zor gets off the Starbreaker onto 3 heroes, but he's likely to die shortly after. Double kill for Lil Nick. Albino Zebra will be brought down from a Fade Bolt, so it's a 3 for 2, but that's a core in that Void Spirit going down for Felt.
Yeah, it looked a little rough for them. The Dream Coil plus Chain Frost was super spooky, but Lil Nick so far ahead with his hood that he was basically unkillable in that moment. Ooh, steals Chakram. That's a good one. A lot of pure damage coming out of that. 125 pure per pass. That's like a 350 damage nuke. Great to break the coil right away. That prevented the Snapfire from getting the stun follow-up, and then they run in confidently with the Dawn ulti. Everything looks so good. And it was pretty good, but Puck was able to escape there. That was the big one. Very close to dying. The fact that he survived really turned things back into 5RATFORCESTAFF's favor.
Big ravage right there, but just delayed the inevitable. As you see Lil Nick. I wonder if he shaves. That's what I really want to ask if they're able to win this series. Is Solji is taken out by DNM. So DNM, he's starting to take off. I mean, this is Bloodseeker's just one of these heroes that feels like if you get off to a decent start, you just start to snowball, and it's really hard to contain.
Yeah, you farm really quickly. You do a mix of like ganking and team fighting in a good way. Once you get BKB, it's pretty easy just to run in, as long as the enemies are squishy enough. But that was nice that they were able to get the kill. They had the Puck and the Bloodseeker there. They set up with Dream Coil first, followed up with Waning Rift. That solidified the silence from DNM, and then Rupture was available. That way, if he does any Astral Steps afterwards, he just dies. So really nicely done there with that pressure. But Felt is going to try to defend their mid tower.
Yeah, and they fortify so that Solji can get that TP onto the creep. Not sure if he wanted to actually go to the creep and not the tower with those boots of travel, which I don't think that's still been fixed. They said it was, but it's happened to me
It's a little
many
dangerous
times.
sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely better than it used to be, I think. I think they have added some changes, but maybe not perfect just yet. How's that Wraith King doing? Just okay. It's about 1,000 behind the Bloodseeker right now. He's got no kills to his name, of course, and 1 assist, but I don't know, Wraith King farming, he does okay, but it's not the most incredible if you get pressured a little bit in lane, and they're going to try to kill him here.
Yep.
Or Speed's going to poke him a little.
He takes the Satyr. That's going to be very annoying. That's a juicy creep to kill, as we have a big smoke, though, from Felt. Into the river they go. Giant might be able to, yeah, he ends up getting initiated on, but tanks the gank, essentially. And Zone should be able to finish him off himself. In fact, Wake Me Up takes it with the Fade Bolt. Not needed, but that's okay. So 1K
I guess
lead
getting
for...
kills decent, though.
That is true. Every kill counts.
Wraith King now.
Now we have the hook shot and the Cogs onto the other side. Look at this, Cogs just blocking everybody off. So Wraith King left to his own devices as Lil Nick applying a little bit of pressure down here. There's the Solar Guardian. Paradise getting healed up, and they're going to take out Albino Zebra first. Now the Chakram coming out. Chain Frost bounces a few times onto the neutral creeps. Lil Nick getting quite low. Will Timber Chain to safety. That's the first life for Paradise down the drain. And the gaze, like you talked about, onto DNM into the Wraithfire Blast, but the burst damage from Lil Nick is enough. Paradise takes the tumble, but in comes Solji. Nice burst damage onto Lil Nick. Looks like Speed should be able to get out with that illusory orb still available. So it ends up being a 2 for 1. 2 for 2, sorry. Clockwork
2 for 2.
Respawn.
Clock died. Yeah. Very even fight, actually. The damage done was very close within 700. Talking 8,000, so 700 is very little. A little pressure on the Void Spirit again as both teams poke, but ultimately the separation was really solid, but it took them a long time to kill the Wraith King. That finally allowed Felt to swing around and back him up with the Ice Armor. Chain Frost looked really solid. Lil Nick would have been shredded, but unfortunately for them, it stuck at that Ogre camp a little bit too long and burned out, which allowed him to turn and finish off the Wraith King. So with the mid for 5RATs not dying and their carry not dying, I think they're pretty happy with how that little skirmish went, but game's still very even. Once they get a BKB on Bloodseeker, it's going to be a little bit more one-sided, because then he's just going to be able to run down these cores, probably just killing Void Spirit at the start of every fight.
Yeah, and speaking of which, DNM did just finish that BKB, just as you say that. Little Nick, in the meantime, has his Hood, Kaya, and close to finishing the full Kaya Sange. And on the other side, for Felt, Paradise, he's had the Armlet, and Deso's about 700 away. That's a bit of a power spike for them. Obviously, I mean, does he need a Blink Dagger this game for Paradise, or does he need to go for even more right? I mean, he's going to need a BKB at some point, obviously.
You do. You almost always need a Blink Dagger when you play Wraith King, because otherwise you're just not able to start the fight well. You're a stunner, right? So having a Blink is just fantastic. So he'll have to get it. Just depends when he buys it.
Yep, Giant tanking a gank again. Does get off the cookie, though. Staying alive a little bit longer than perhaps Felt originally thought, but still drops in the end as another BKB actually finished. This one for Zor's Dawnbreaker. Looks like he's going for the Shard next. So we'll see how these item timings end up aligning. I mean, which team is happier with the state of the game, do you think, at the current point in time?
I don't think Felt is too unhappy, because they're going to have their Deso with the Wraith King at the same time as their BKB on Dawnbreaker, so they're definitely down to fight. But I think 5RATFORCESTAFF is also very, very content. I mean, Lil Nick is in a great position in terms of net worth, as is Bloodseeker with the BKB, so it just kind of comes down to how well this fight goes, and it should go well for 5RAT. Blink on Puck too, so they have lots of ways to start a fight.
Yep, Lil Nick smoke ends up going out as the Timber Chain comes through, as now the Desto is officially online for Wraith King. See if they actually want to dive this tier 1 tower. They are scanned out, so Felt obviously aware of these shenanigans. And Zor just taking out the wave in the meantime.
Deso not so good against Timbersaw, but the other hero is definitely solid.
Yep, that is true. As we have the Rupture onto Zor. He's inside that Blood Right. We'll just tank it thanks to the Frost Blast. Okay, we have the initiation, and Puck speed drops immediately. And with that, you have to expect 5RATFORCESTAFF to try to back up here. And they're going to lose their Clockwork as well. But Wake Me Up does take a considerable amount of damage, but Lil Nick is forced to TP out. They have no way to cancel it here, no
cool.
vision.
That was
Could have been
really
a lot
cool
worse.
escape. Just Timber Chains to the high ground where there's a tree, and then he just TPs there. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, that was close to catastrophic. They basically started the fight with the Rupture, thinking, oh, poke the Dawnbreaker, and wisely Speed hits the backline to try to mess with him, but he got caught probably from lift. They chained it up into other disables, and then Chain Frost made things look pretty bad for 5RAT, but they were able to tank it a bit. But they lose their tier 1 tower as a result. No BKBs really popped much, so except for the Dawnbreaker one, so 5RAT could go again now that they got Rupture back, but that was a little bit of a tough loss for them. Now losing some map control there on the Dire side. The only tower they've killed so far is the Radiant safe lane, so game's still pretty even.
Yep. I mean, it was about a 1K lead for 5RATFORCESTAFF at that point, and it's kind of flip-flop as a result of that fight, but still generally even, like you said. We'll have to see what... I mean, the BKBs, are they waiting for any more to come online? You're going to see the coil come out, they lose your orb to follow, and the hook shot. The heal's coming in, but it's not enough from Zor. They lose Solji. It's going to be a trade for the clockwork, but if you're 5RATFORCESTAFF, you take that anytime. A very early shard picked up by Little Nick with that flamethrower, and Shoot drops to the deck. Looks like Paradise's first life's about to come out as Zor ends up getting bursted by Little Nick himself. And that is the first life. Rubik will survive via the TP, but now Paradise has to be careful. DNM pops the BKB. He's had it this whole time, and that's going to finally be his death. So double kill for Speed, and that turns into a 4-for-1 in favor of 5RATFORCESTAFF, along with the tier 1 tower now.
I mean, Lil Nick owned that fight. Like, he just runs in against all the heroes after they get that that kill on the Void Spirit, and he just did tons of damage. Yeah, you pointed out the shard that he bought, but I mean, his item timings are so fast. He's got Sanj Kaya, and he's got the 8% spell amp talent, so he's got 24% spell amplification, burning these heroes for 80 damage per second. Like, this is effectively a Dragon Knight shard in terms of its damage per second. It's as long as he like brushes everybody with it every 2 seconds, it's the same. So if you think how good that shard is, I mean, we saw the same damage plus Timbersaw outputting this, and he didn't sacrifice defense at all because he's just so far ahead. So he's having a great game, really showing up.
Soldier taking a ton of damage. Little Nick is still pursuing. Rocket Flare just out of range. Oh, Speed, he might catch him. He gets the coil off, and this is going to lead to a kill onto the Void Spirit. What a nice find for 5RATFORCESTAFF. I did not think that was going to happen, but they executed pretty nicely.
Really well done. So 5k gold advantage all of a sudden from that big team fight win and killing the tier 1 tower. So now 5RATFORCESTAFF's in a great spot. Wraith King is queuing up his Blink. He's got in about 200 gold. That will allow him to start the fights, ideally. Honestly, finding somebody like Clockwork or Snapfire would be great. Probably Snapfire the most powerful find, because you can kill her quickly and can prevent her spell follow-up. But anybody that has kind of low armor, you're super down to initiate on.
Yeah, as we have I'm going to hold that thought as Zor gets off the hammer. Does connect. And actually synergizes really nicely with the Sinister Gaze. But TPs are coming in mass, and Giant's going to live as the rest of Felt are now on the retreat because Lil Nick has come up to play, and Shu will be the first casualty here. A nice Chain Frost, though, as Zor able to get the BKB TP. We'll be out of there just in time, as Blood Rage is the thing that's stolen from Wake Me Up. That's not really going to help him too much, as the Blood Right does connect. Here comes the Solar Guardian on the side, and 2 members of 5RATFORCESTAFF have died now, but a big coil comes out from Speed, kiting them very nicely as Zor, with that shard, Starbreaker able to get out. And the chase continues, but it looks like Solji might be able to get out on this Void Spirit, but the pursuit from Speed, now the Waning Rift, just enough range. So another kill goes the way of 5RATFORCESTAFF, who again don't really lose any cores, it feels like, in these fights.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like Felt could take that fight once they Dream Coil on top of the Void Spirit. And he's got a Yules to protect himself, but before he used it, he got hit by a double passive Chakram. Lil Nick nailed him with it, and at that point he's at like 30% HP. He can't keep fighting, he has to run. So Felt was basically on the back foot that whole time, and Lil Nick was able to do as much damage as he wants. He's 9-1-6 right now, by the way. He's 400 gold from finishing his BKB. And we're only 23.5 minutes into this game. He's got so many items right now that he can just be this damage dealer and tanky person that gives perfect vision for his team and also clears up a lot of these strength heroes. So it was a very good Timber game. It's definitely one of Lil Nick's best, and pretty bad sign that he was able to pick it.
And I have a request from you. So there's an item picked up by Bloodseeker. I want you to pronounce it because I've heard your pronunciation. It disgusts me to the core. Could you say that out loud, please?
Gleipnir.
How is it such a bad pronunciation?
Gleipnir? Gleipnir?
Just Gleipnir. Gleipnir.
Why not Gleipnir?
It's just, I mean, why not Mjolnir while you're at it?
As in IE.
DNM, he's going to get Yules into the Aether Remnant, but the BKB will keep him alive. Do they actually want to fight, though? Looks like the Aether Remnant does connect on the Albino. Zebra taking a ton of damage. He gets bursted from 100 to 0, but Lil Nick has come again, looking for the Lich, so it's a 1-for-1 to start. That's the first life now for the Wraith King. A little bit of mistime on the Cookie. The Paradise continuing to take damage. You see Lil Nick with the BKB. They cannot do anything. They're just completely ignoring him, knowing that he's just unstoppable right now. So Paradise does get the double kill, but dies shortly after. And Lil Nick has a double kill of his own. And there's the Gleipnir, as you call it. Big, juicy Starbreaker from Zor. Heals him up with that Luminosity, but he is going to go down anyway. So double kill for DNM, and the last remaining member is Wake Me Up, but not for long. His speed finishes it off.
What ingratitude.
All right, back to sleep for him. What a good fight for 5RAT. It looked kind of bad at the start. Like, they started with Rupture on the 5-position hero, but ultimately what that eventually gave them was position for their tanky heroes to come back in and finish them off. We're excited about the hookshot?
Well, the hookshot got canceled by the Remnant.
Interrupted him. So yeah, it was like perfect fight start in some ways for Felt there. That guy gets exploded. The Lich gets cleaned up, but ultimately just too
I'm
much
glad
damage.
we saw the replay of him coughing into his shirt. Very appropriate. Yeah. Love to see that. As we have the Aegis now on the side of 5RATFORCESTAFF, so DNM picking up that for himself.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He's got Bastion now too, so no more worries about any BKB TPs. He's just going to be able to run in now and do Bloodseeker things pretty much. Once he gets Shard as well, like you said, tons of survivability.
Oh boy, Gleipnir and the Rupture. Okay, big Starbreaker onto 2. Lil Nick actually Timber Chains into that, but it matters not. They just have such a large lead right now that it's going to be difficult for Felt to really find much to go with.
That was really scary, actually. If they had one other hero there, they definitely could have killed Bloodseeker and burned his Aegis, but they win the fight. The Gleipnir.
Oh my god.
Just
say Gleipnir.
It's been very effective so far this game.
It's been good.
Especially that one in the jungle where he caught the both the Void Spirit and the Wraith King. I think that one was really cool.
You know,
very effective so far.
There was one pronunciation that annoyed me from you that I think you fixed, which I'm going to ask you in just a moment. This is like a new trivia between me and you, except it's just pronunciation.
Things Purge does that annoys the shit out of me.
Yes.
Let's play.
Okay. So the things that Venomancer puts on the ground, what is that called? That spell?
Plagueuse.
Wait, what? What are they? Okay. Yeah. You know what you used to say though?
Plague.
You used to say Plague, like P-L-A-G, and there's nothing at the end. Yeah. And I was like, what the? And then I realized that apparently people, like in the Wisconsin area, actually just pronounce things weird.
Yeah, we have like closer to like a Canadian accent. Our vowels are longer. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you want to go down there and get some brews? Yeah,
but you don't.
Like that.
You don't pronounce any of the other stuff. That's weird. It's like very selective with you.
Oh yeah, probably is. I mean, I never realized I had an accent until I left. And one time, one of my friends was like, "Oh, your grandma talks so funny," and I was like, "What?" I had no idea. I couldn't tell, you know. So yeah, there's definitely some words that come out if you know to look for it. I can relate to Trent a little bit. Is the way I would describe it.
Yep, understandable. As Lil Nick has dominated this game, but DNM is the one with the net worth lead. By the way, did you buy the, this is a great topic of conversation since the Observer doesn't have this enabled, but
no idea what he's going to say here.
Have you purchased, Purge, you know those kill streak things that they added to the game with with shards?
Oh no, not worth it. Number one, I never have more than 3,000 shards because I always instantly spend them on like hero unlocks because I play lots of heroes instead of just like 20 because I'm not a coward.
Okay,
so
it feels like
I don't have that many shards. Even if I did, I don't pay attention to that shit at the top of the screen personally.
I wish you could see what I see because half the team of 5RATFORCESTAFF are just flaming right now. It's like everybody on the team. Yeah, I've had games where it's the entire top bar for one team. It's just these particle effects. So you would notice them.
So it just like flames the whole time?
Yeah, until they die.
You only get that privilege by having it yourself?
That's right. Like other people don't see it. It's just you. It's
like a secret club that you unlock by getting into it. And until you're in the club, you don't know who else is in the cult.
Right. Well, then again, even when you're in the cult, you don't know who else is in the cult either, because because
Okay.
it's not based on them having it. It's based on their kill streaks, and I'm the one seeing it because I purchased it, which is
Okay, so there's no cult.
it's very odd. I mean, you can make a cult out of anything. Just ask Flex.
All right, well, which cult are you in of the 3?
Fire.
Oh, okay. Fire cult.
Yeah. The other 2 I don't think are as cool, but
Is that ice and lightning or something?
Like if they had, okay, Valve, if you're listening, which is very unlikely, but if you're listening, this is a great idea. If you came out with one that just had a bunch of horse emotes, and that's it.
You'd make at least one sale.
I would buy that many times. Okay?
Albino Zebra would definitely buy it too.
That's true. That is true.
In case there aren't enough horse emotes in the game already.
Now I'm really curious what the difference between a horse and a zebra actually is other than the stripes. As we have the coil expended, and yeah, that's going to be the first life for the Wraith King, and he has 0 reinforcements on the way, and he has no time to even do anything because it's a complete lockdown. 13k lead for 5RATFORCESTAFF.
That's right, Shannon. That's a very dead carry. No BKB on him. Went for the AC so he could scale a little bit better against his opponents, do more damage, but this is what starts happening. You just kind of get chain disabled and your hero feels real bad. If you're not like a little head in net worth, I feel like Wraith King is just going to feel rough. So his ultis don't feel as good. He doesn't like 2-shot supports. Just, it's a bad time.
Yeah, for sure. And Speed finds another kill in the form of Shu. Albino Zebra looking for Zor. Does get off the Starbreaker, but here comes Lil Nick. Pops the BKB. Has to try to run away the old-fashioned... Uh-oh. Oh my god. Is that just us lag there? That could have been scary. But they'll find the kill on Zor nonetheless. And not even the Clockwork's going to go down. It's then a Gleipnir use. Soji gets off the Yules, but bursted down shortly after as 5RATFORCESTAFF just getting everything they want, and they still have that Aegis to work with.
Incredible game so far. They just run down their opponents and Felt can't do anything. The Gleipnir? I don't even know how to pronounce it anymore.
God.
That item
Keep
also
up the good work.
Very good at punishing them. So good against the Void Spirit. It was definitely the game for it. Great against these like squishy supports because, I mean, Silence is like one of the best counters against supports, right? Because they don't have items to defend themselves from it easily, like Cores will. So if Bloodseeker gets good use out of Blood, right, it really levels up his hero experience in a big way.
Yep. Aegis has gone, though. There is one tier 2 remaining in the top lane for 5RATFORCESTAFF to take. And we'll see if... I'm actually interested to see how disciplined they play, because obviously each win is going to be extremely important to be able to stay in upper division. But do they wait for the next Roche, since they have so much map control, just kind of starve out Felt, or do you think they're going to play a little cocky here?
I don't think they'll play that cocky. They might make mistakes. I would say they're more execution mistakes than cockiness if it happens.
Okay.
But they've got great survivability now. Bloodseeker finished up a Lincoln Snow, making it even harder for Felt to start fights. Now they can't do like, blink lift from Rubik. They're going to have to do, well, I guess they still can. They're going to have to blink Fade Bolt, then lift. And if DNM doesn't BKB in time, he deserves to die. Here it comes.
Yeah,
it didn't work.
That's a lot of damage, but here comes the Dawnbreaker ult. Zor ends up helping get the kill onto the Bloodseeker. They lose a Clockwork as well, so off to a good start in this fight for Felt. They do lose the first life onto Paradise, but Speed very low on HP. Has to lose your orb away as Paradise is getting soloed by Little Nick. And here comes Speed, not afraid of dying, helps net the kill again as Little Nick still alive with very little HP. There's a Scatter Blast with that shard from Giant as Shu looks like he'll get off the Sinister Gaze as Little Nick and Speed just trying to clean up everybody else despite their whole team being dead. Still all the confidence in the world, but it looks like, as I say that, they back away. But the Bloodseeker dying right away certainly did not help.
Yeah, that was big. He used Spell Steal to break the Lincolns. And the crazy part is the cast range on it is so large that he was able to break the Lincolns without breaking smoke. That's a kind of a rare advantage that you get. Yeah, when you've got Psychic Headband, Aether Lens, and Arcane Supremacy, it's very easy to do this. So you break the Lincolns, you instantly lift him, your team follows up, and you get the kill. That's why he bought the Lincolns to try to protect himself. In this case, just too much to get him. But I really like, again, the Flamethrower has been really good. I haven't seen too many Timbers buy it recently, but it worked great there. just slowing down and guaranteeing that he can 1v1 this enemy carry. Usually the Timber has to like really cast a lot of spells to finish somebody off, but if the Wraith King's like being slowed by 30% for 9 seconds, like he just eventually dies to the Timber Saw without it being too much of a hassle, even in a place where there aren't a lot of trees. So it's really getting a lot of value this game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time I've seen it have such a big impact, like right when it's purchased. A lot of times you see it used for like building siege, but in like a team fight where it just completely, like it did half his damage, it felt like in that first engagement. And I mean, Lil Nick has just been on a different level this game since the beginning. As you can see, the top 3 net worths on the side of 5RATFORCESTAFF, and I think now likely to wait for this next Roche, which will spawn in 38 seconds. So a relatively early spawn. This will be the Roche with the Shard, of course. And all right, we can have a little Shard discussion. Obviously, we talked about Timbers to death. DNM already has his, so the Blood Rage doing pure damage. So Puck does not have it. Snapfire's had hers for quite a while, so it's between Clockwork and Puck. Purge, which do you prefer?
Jetpack or Puck?
Yeah.
I mean, Puck's one is not that bad, but a lot of Pucks are going this like mix of right click and spell damage thing. I feel like it's probably better for Jetpack here. But
really? Love to see it. Rarely get to see that bad boy come out. Speaking of which, Clockwork does finish the Wraith Fire.
It's going to help him get in like that. Drop the Wraith Pack, get out.
Yep, DNM gets off the Gleipnir and the Rupture on Paradise, who's resigned to just stand still for now. They're going to focus on everybody else, though. Shu gets bashed into oblivion. Solji looks to be next. Yep, goes shortly after the Assimilate. And, well, we do have mass buybacks coming out, but 5RATFORCESTAFF are getting everything that they want. Solar Guardian coming in, but Paradise will die again. That's his second life. Zero still alive after the buybacks from the rest of his team, but he's just getting completely surrounded. And 5RATFORCESTAFF again win handily. And into the Roche pit they go.
Yep, that was double Rupture right there, very powerful. They dropped the Rupture on the Dawnbreaker first, I think, or was it Wraith King? It was Wraith King. They did Wraith King, and then they went for the backline where they went after Void Spirit. And Void Spirit is very, very killable here.
Oh, wow.
He's
You have a buyback onto the Dawnbreaker. Ooh, wake me up. Using that shard just to be able to get some vision. And you can see the
That's
respect
a cool way to
from... Yeah, it is. That was quite nice. I mean, it
was
helps
good
to
that
have
he
the
threw
blink.
himself in instead of like blinked in and then threw himself out. Because if he tries to throw himself out, he could get stunned, silenced, or whatever. So.
Yeah. Oh, he's trying it again. He gets the stun onto 2, but yeah, Roche isn't that low yet. Big Chain Frost coming out, though. Well, maybe not that big. Leads to a couple more kills for 5RATFORCESTAFF, who secured the Aegis and the Shard. Let's see who gets it here. Who has it? Somebody has it that already has a Shard, so...
The Bloodseeker's carrying it right now.
All right, hopefully he keeps it for the rest of the game, denies the rest of his team additional 1,400 gold net worth. As we have a Starbreaker, but Coil, yep, you're not going to be able to use too much in this. As you can see, the amount of damage that Puck is able to do just with that Witchblade, it feels like. Dodges the Wraith Fire Blast.
If he had a jetpack, probably would have hit that hook.
That is true. Maybe that's going to be enough for them to convince them to give that shard to him instead of Puck, who is holding it in his inventory right now. Okay, he will consume it, sadly. So this is the Puck attacks all enemies within 200 range every time you phase shift. Basically the old level... that was a 25 talent, right? Back in the day.
Bro, that used to be a 10 talent or some shit. Or
What?
15.
No way.
Yeah. The phase shift attack one? Yes.
Yeah, I think 15
was-
is right, not 10 though. 10 would be ridiculous.
It was very early though. It was like damage talent at 10 or something, and then 15 was phase shift attack.
Yeah.
That shit was so good.
Did you ever see a game where the Fade Bolt stealing damage worked?
No.
So I'm kind of sad that
Rubik
that's
mid is-
gone. Not gonna lie. I like the concept of it.
It's cool, but it's for the best. Like Rubik just isn't really that viable of a mid hero. Maybe if like Witchblade existed, then it would have been kind of cool. That helps turn into heroes into cores.
Yeah, that's true. As 5RATFORCESTAFF looking to take out Felt in game number 1 here. They do lose the Clockwork. That's the first life from the Wraith King. As Speed just focusing on the supports for now, but as you can see, Paradise completely surrounded and brought down to his knees as GG is finally called. 37k net worth advantage at the end for 5RATFORCESTAFF.
And there's Little Nick on camera. 21 and 15 was his KDA at the end of the game. I don't even remember when he died, but holy crap. What a game for 5RATs. Felt made it close in a couple of cases. They got some ganks off and things like that they were successful with, but laning stage was okay on the Felt side, but after that it kind of just became 5RAT4 staff doing whatever they wanted for the rest of the game.